this video, I want to share about the steps of the decision-making process, given the analogy that the decision is just a jigsaw puzzle and the process involves only gathering information and connecting it into an image that makes sense and is clear to you. So what are the steps? The first step is what I call the step pre the decision-making process. And that steps involves understanding what the decision is about, why it's important for you to make the decision, who else needs to be involved in making the decision, what are the stakes, the risks, the impact, so on and so forth. The second step is all about finding a starting point from which you can start completing the decision jigsaw puzzle. That starting point can be any, depending on how we make decisions overall. It may be that we want to start from a place of familiarity, from what we already know already. Or we want to find out what we don't know about, what are the unknowns, what would be more complex for us to go through. So that's just a preference, but regardless, a starting point of thinking through the decision is a step the decision-making process requires. The next step is all about gathering information, and information can be either internal or external. The external information is all that comes from external sources. That can be advice, opinion, thoughts, feelings, skills, knowledge, and so on and so forth. When it comes to internal information, that can be your thoughts, feelings regarding the decision, about yourself, your beliefs, your values, what matters to you most, and so on and so forth. What comes after this step is the step of connecting this information. And how this step can look like, well, let's say an example, that the decision you need to make is a career change. And it might be one information is what you think about this decision, and the other information might be what your family thinks about this decision. And this information, yours and the others, it needs to be connected in such a way that it doesn't conflict with each other. Gathering information and connecting it are two steps that can happen either simultaneously or one after the other, and that is a preference. Some people want to gather all the information at the very beginning and afterwards just focus on connecting it. Others, they do things bit by bit. A bit of gathering, a bit of connecting, going back, gathering more information, connecting, and so on and so forth. So there's no right or wrong answer here in terms of how you approach these two steps. What comes after this step of connecting information is a step of seeing what is the right decision for you. This step is not an actual step of doing, because by this point in time, you should already have the image completed and clear to you, like a jigsaw puzzle. The image it reveals is clear to you once the puzzle is completed. And this step in itself, to some extent, is also a validator that can tell you if you are not able to see the right decision with ease, you still need to focus on completing the jigsaw puzzle. What comes after this step that reveals the right decision to you are two steps that generally we don't take into consideration. The first one is the step of actually acting based on the decision we made. All the actions have at their root a decision, from what we eat, when we eat, what time we go to bed, we wake up, the career choices we make, how we communicate, how we show up every day, and so on and so forth. Basically, every second of our life we make a decision at the back of which an action follows. And because the action the decision follows is so connected to the decision itself, I do believe this step of acting on the decision is still part of the decision-making process. Equally, the next step I want to talk about, which I consider to be the last step of the decision-making process, is another step we don't take into consideration as being part of the decision-making process. And that step is a step of evaluating how the decision helped us, if indeed that particular decision was the right one. Because if you think about this example of, let's say, the decision is about a career change, and you decided to do proceed with a career change, anything that follows this action of making a career change is evaluated based on how you feel with yourself given the action that you made of the career change, which came at the back of the decision you made of making the career change. Why I wanted to share about these steps and present the whole decision-making process as it is. All I wanted is to bring awareness to the decision-making process as a whole, given that many times we think of it just as a process that once we have the decision available to us, we think the decision-making process is completed.